Thank you, Arun, for the introduction, ladies and gentlemen. I suppose we've got a number of ladies with us today. That would be lovely. And it's great to be able to join you here. Unfortunately, COVID-19 has taken away the excitement of live presentations, I guess, and especially the fun you guys had on the last day. I saw your video on LinkedIn last time. That was fun. However, the pandemic and this VUCA world has showed us how important digital tools are, and how they can significantly improve our resilience and in many cases our productivity. Online meetings, Zoom, MS Teams, let me share my screens are all like new PM jargons nowadays. As a matter of fact, we are amid a transformation regarding the way we produce products and services. Thanks to like a sort of digitalization of manufacturing. I've been hearing this word from the previous speaker, digitalization technology. In fact, that transition is so compelling that it is being called Industry 4.0. You must have heard about that, to represent the fourth revolution that has occurred in manufacturing. As you know, first came steam and water, then electricity, and then assembly lines, then computerization. The fourth revolution, that is Industry 4.0, will be about the enhanced adoption of computers and automation. And it will be fueled by data and machine learning through connected systems and Internet of Things. And since I'm from the construction industry, I will share with you today how digitalization, IoT, machine learning, which are key concepts of Industry 4.0, are already changing the way construction projects are designed, managed, delivered, and operated. Now, digital tools which can improve or claim to improve the construction industry are being developed like every day. You must have read about them and how they claim to change our industry. But for today, I will restrict myself to those technologies which are either already being used in Mauritius or which soon will be. Obviously, as you would understand, there are many technologies which probably will not reach our shores soon or will never be in some cases. So essentially today, I will be talking about BIM, building information modeling, and how this is improving the way projects are being delivered and completed buildings are being managed all around the world. Then I will explain how new visualization techniques like augmented reality is helping contractors build right first time and save cost, time, and improving in quality. I will then follow with what we have new today in this project management world, that is common design environment platforms, and why we should look beyond Dropbox or the cloud storage system for effective project management and communications management. Then I will finish with my own addition to Construction 4.0, which is sustainability. Indeed, the construction of the future will inherently be green if we want to combat climate change. Clients have understood this better than us, and they are driving the demand for certified green buildings. And this will require specialized skill set in project management. Wherever possible, I will use some local case studies to illustrate how these concepts are changing the way projects are being delivered. Now, if terms like Internet of Things, connected systems, machine learning, artificial intelligence, building information modeling, virtual reality are not familiar to you, something you're not keen in, then you better get familiarized with them. Like the pandemic has taught us working online, these new tools will also take us by storm. The digitalization of the construction industry is accelerating, and it's not time to be hesitant about this change and adopting new technologies. The modern manager, be it project manager, construction manager, will be increasingly called to manage digital information, digital models, data, and ultimately robots. Yes, I'm right. Welcome to Construction 4.0, and it is already here. In fact, Construction 4.0 has got no universal definition up to now, but all experts of this industry are unanimous that it will be a major revolution for the industry. I guess it was high time, isn't it? For the sectors like retail, agriculture have transformed themselves and their productivity performance in manufacturing, for example. Lean principles coupled with extensive automation have utterly changed industries. In comparison, much of construction have evolved at a very low pace, and it is among the least digitalized sectors in the world. Buildings are essentially constructed the same way today that they were 60 years ago, whether they house single families, multi-story offices, or commercial high-rises. An architect comes up with an idea, he puts it down on paper, he hands off those paper diagrams to the building contractor, and that contractor, once he agrees to a price, is then charged with converting the architect's two-dimensional vision into a functioning home, office building, on budget, on time, and to standards. This is essentially how it was and how it is by and large today. But I am sure this is about to change. The new face of the construction industry, which for today I refer as Construction 4.0, will be hinged on the digitalization of this industry. And I see BIM, CDE, virtual reality, and augmented reality as game changers. Obviously, I don't think today is the forum or we have time to go into the detail of how BIM works and what BIM is. You must have read about it, you must have heard about it. But as an opening remark, I must point out that BIM is not only Revit, or Revit is not only the BIM software available if your knowledge of BIM is that much. One of the key challenges faced by a project manager is ensuring collaboration and efficient communication among design teams. Now, the very fragmented nature and way of operating of the construction industry makes it challenging for any project manager to manage the myriads of teams working each in their own silos, to their own standards, methods, and conventions. Now, just give me a second. Fundamentally, the key role of every project manager is that of bringing together a disparate group of experts and integrating their knowledge into a buildable design that meets cost, quality, safety, sustainability, and schedule objectives and requirements. The project manager often have hard times to ensure an effective integration of all these teams, especially when this happens like once a fortnight and as one item on a long agenda. In construction, it's very classical to have fortnightly, rarely weekly meetings, coordination meetings, where the project manager has the opportunity of really coordinating the work of all those different professionals. But I guess, and I'm convinced because I've seen it myself, building information modeling has changed that and has significantly improved design collaboration. In fact, it is providing a sort of revolutionary platform for rethinking how we design, construct, maintain, and operate our built environment. For those of you who are still unfamiliar with BIM, and I sincerely hope there are very few of you, not much, it is the new working method in many countries now, and with some even making it mandatory for planning permission. To describe in its simplest way and quickest way, if I may do so, BIM is about, it's about creating a 3D digital model of a building, which is managed from the inception to the handing over of the project. Now, what makes it different, or what is the important differences between a normal 3D, which we have seen in the past, and a BIM model is information content. When working on 2D, when you work on 2D or illustrative 3D models like those produced in 3D Studio Max or SketchUp, information on the building which is being designed is scattered in many documents. You know, you've got specifications, you've got schedules, you've got reports, you've got drawings, you've got bill of quantities in a very fragmented manner, whereas on BIM, it can all be hosted on a single model. Now, what does this really imply? I guess if I had to answer that from my 16 years working on BIM is traceability. It is the ability to transfer key information and decisions made at the inception stage of a project down to the operations and maintenance stage, or in a single model, as opposed to dozens of scattered documents. Now, why it is important for project managers to understand and adopt BIM? You must obviously have heard or noted keywords I've been using in defining or describing BIM, like collaboration, coordination, communication, exchange, I guess, which are of primary concern to project managers. BIM, by its very nature, is a collaborative working tool. It doesn't work otherwise. By adopting BIM on a project, the team is like compelled to collaborate more efficiently. Working on BIM allows the team to work on a single 3D federated model. A model is on one where all the work of all designers are superimposed. So if I would have to describe how BIM will change, or if not already changing, the way construction projects are managed, first I would say by having a kind of 3D model, which is a superimposition of the work of all the designers, like the architect, the structural engineer, the electrical engineer, the mechanical engineer. Now the project manager are better able to visualize and therefore understand how the various components and systems interact. Therefore, key decisions are taken early in the project. For example, resolving clashes, optimizing space, and avoiding reworks, which can be costly during construction. Now, if that BIM model is shared in a cloud platform, I'll come to that a bit in detail later when I'll talk about CDE, the project manager can track progress virtually real time. BIM allows us to do that, something which was quite impossible in the way conventional way of designing things. The project manager is also possible to track the progress of individual teams, and that is potentially interesting when we've got in-house project managers in large property development organizations. You know, when and especially when you're working in fast track projects. And now by sort of participating or allowing the project manager to participate in the design process, it's not that the PM is doing the design himself, but you know, by having a clearer visualization of all the systems and their interaction, and in real time, I've seen project managers constantly being able to monitor whether the design is in compliance with the brief, and then quickly or early in the whole process redirect actions whenever we are deviating from that. The good thing that it can reduce both time and ensure quality standards are being met right at the outset, rather than, you know, discovering that during construction where it might be too late. Now, during construction, BIM can also be used to track progress automatically. We're using that and assess the impact of alternative methods of construction on time and cost virtually at the click of a button. This allows project managers to manage variations more accurately and in some kind of real-time situation. And then, you know, BIM data can be used to instantly generate production drawings or databases for manufacturing processes, allowing increased use of prefabrication and modular construction technology, which is something lacking in our industry. By designing, detailing, and building offsite in a controlled environment, we can diminish waste, increase efficiency, and reduce labor and material costs. Now, obviously, managing a project or managing a BIM project requires new skills from project managers, and which essentially begins with the keenness to learn digital tools and to learn or to probably be more interested in software and at times as well coding to manage projects more efficiently. Now, I guess what BIM has to offer to project manager is better control, better coordination, better communication, and therefore better monitoring of projects. Now, there are many benefits that BIM brings to project, and I guess what RICS has reported recently is very relevant. We are working on a number of projects here locally using BIM, and the costs and time savings are proven. Now, as I mentioned a bit earlier, BIM, if operated on a cloud platform, has more potential of improving project efficiency. I guess one of the other very interesting possibility with BIM is the ability to coordinate the works on a common cloud platform, or what we call a common data environment. In fact, as I mentioned, one of the main challenges faced by a project manager is to effectively manage a very fragmented industry, people working each in their own silos and really not communicating as much as we want. Researchers have documented that errors have about 50% of their origin in the design stage and 40% in the construction stage. Others have also reported similar waste and inefficiencies induced by inefficient design and construction processes, all resulting from the very fragmented way we operate. Project managers in construction in Mauritius would probably definitely agree with me to the fact that many of the problems we are facing on site have their origin in a poorly coordinated design. In the construction industry, construction project management processes are still heavily reliant on document, file, if not paper, rather than data. The document, whether it is a paper or digital, is still the most widely used information source today. However, cloud-based collaboration platforms are now the new norm, and a common data environment improves the design collaboration and even construction management possibilities of BIM. Well, we have to understand the difference between a common data environment, or a CDE for short, and any other online collaboration tool which you have been using before, like SharePoint. Well, the main difference is that a CD allows collaboration on BIM models, which is quite interesting because BIM is becoming the new tool. And it also allows the creation of collaborative workflows that we normally have in construction projects, like requests for information, requests for approval, shop drawing approval, material approvals. And I think the most important point that a CDE can act as a single source of truth for a project. No need to cycle through exhaustive emails to look for a piece of information, as the CDE has a clear and secure audit trail of all changes and amendments throughout the project. A proper CDE can also allow users to view a BIM model, normally a federated one, that is a superimposition of the BIM model of all those different designers, to allow a clear understanding of the project and allowing informed decision to be made early in the process. Hence, there is no need for project managers to invest in costly design tools like Revit to view and manage model. CD allows viewing of a BIM model without necessarily having a BIM software, and that's very interesting. Clients are becoming increasingly aware of the waste and productivity associated with traditional methods and are demanding change to increase productivity. Early and ongoing standardization of information is now recognized as a requirement. In fact, clients are driving the need to operate projects on CDE rather than the traditional methods of using Dropbox or Google Drive or emails. Maybe I have to go one slide backward before I move to VR and AR. What are the implications, therefore, for project managers when working on CDE, Common Data Environment? I guess project managers will increasingly be required to compare and advise clients on the best CD for the project to achieve their objectives. Choosing the right Common Data Environment is a crucial step for the implementation of BIM in a project. So I would imagine project managers need to have some knowledge of CDE, what they offer, and how they could contribute to the overall efficiency or performance of the project. And then I will also expect project managers to have the right skills to set up and configure these CDE for the team. They will have to define document management and information exchange protocols, which in some way at this point in time is being done in a PIP, project implementation plan. Then project managers will be called to advise and workflow acceptable for the project based on the project management structure and approval processes, again generally defined in the project implementation plan. And then obviously project managers will be called to manage the issues being raised on that platform until their resolution. So you must have guessed by now that these new tasks will require some IT skills, which is a bit more to just uploading or downloading files, just pushing files or Dropbox. In fact, the successful modern project manager shall also be doing some coding or programming, trust me. We are already working, as I mentioned before. I am today more relating to what is being used in our industry, and we are already working on CDE with BIM on smaller projects like private villa to mega projects in a multi-offices commercial development. And I foresee the adoption scaling up. I guess therefore project managers must be ready for this new tool in the construction industry. Now, another digital tool that project manager will be called to use for better managing construction project is virtual and augmented reality. You must have heard and seen virtual and augmented reality in other applications. Probably you have games that uses VR goggles, and it is also being largely used in the retail sector. And fortunately, it has also now hit the shores of the construction industry and is promising to be of major benefit. BIM is already proving to be a fantastic tool in enhancing design collaboration, as I mentioned before, identifying and resolving issues early in the construction process, but it still remains a challenging tool for many project managers, and especially when we are working on complex models. However, VR and AR, virtual reality and augmented reality, is bringing additional support in the resolution of coordination-related problems during design and construction by allowing an immersion into a real-size BIM model of the building. Those who follow us might have noted that, after we've got a research and development department, and after quite some extensive R&D, we have been able to connect a BIM model to a fully immersive, real-size, interactive virtual model, where one can walk in and visualize all the details of construction as if we were working inside the finished building. Now, one of the other useful application I see with VR, probably one of the most illustrative application I can give you with VR was, recently when one of our clients who is renovating a hotel in Rodrigues had difficulty of doing mock-up rooms because of travel restrictions. I mean, project managers would understand the need of doing mock-up rooms to finalize the design, to freeze the design. And that is something quite common in hospitality industry, hospitality design. And the fact that they were not being able to travel to Rodrigues to do that mock-up room was like potentially delaying the project. And that was something of concern. So what we did was we worked out a BIM model and then use virtual reality for the whole team to have a sort of virtual visit inside that guest room. And that was done at a 4K resolution. So it was as if you're seeing the right finishes, the right color, right patterns, and the client was able to finalize that mock-up room virtually rather than traveling to Rodrigues. Now, just imagine the amount of time and money saved using that tool. Another problem I see PM encountering on site is the management of cost and time overrun from wastes, reworks, snagglies, and quality-related problems. Well, this stems largely from the inability of people on site to properly read and understand drawings. In fact, I came across a very interesting research paper recently by Dr. Prag and Mr. Sibu from the University of Mauritius. When they studied a construction site, very funny though, they concluded that 90% of the workers on that site could not read, let alone understand the drawings. That's quite alarming. I guess my colleagues, project managers, will concur with me on that thorny problem, and which often is the reason for long snagglies or rework, resulting in cost and time overrun. But augmented reality can correct that, as people tend to better understand a 3D visual than a 2D drawing. It is now possible to overlay BIM models on site with millimeter accuracy, thereby giving contractors and laymen an overview of what they have to do, an overview of the installation. Progress of work can also be closely monitored by comparing the work with the overlaid BIM model. By simply using a mobile phone, which I imagine everybody has got on a site, or if they can afford, better even, a VR Google, site staff can understand what is to be built and how they interact. This can reduce rework. In fact, we are already using that on few on our sites. And what I'm going to show you here is a major hotel renovation project where we used augmented reality to superimpose a very complex and crowded chiller plant room design on the site, and which the contractor and his team could visualize using their mobile phones. This helped getting the plant room done right first time without waste and rework. Again, time and cost saved. I guess these are of interest to project managers. Time, cost, quality, and imagine the possibilities of having that done for a complete build. I'll probably let that video finish because that's something quite interesting. All right. Last but not the least, I guess I've got time. Yes, I think so. Yeah. As I mentioned earlier, my own addition, last but not least, my own addition to construction 4.0. And I emphasize that this is not in the current definition of construction 4.0, but I guess sustainability, more precisely certified green buildings, is the future. I must here point out that sustainability and green buildings have been around for more than 2 decades now. But we are seeing an increase in demand for certified green buildings in Mauritius. From only 3 buildings certified over the last 10 years, we are currently working right now on 7 new certified green buildings, 1 certified green neighborhood, and we are being solicited for more than a dozen of similar schemes. And this is all being driven by the clients themselves, who are realizing the benefits of such types of buildings and how this is allowing them to combat climate change, which is a matter of concern to them and, of course, to all of us. The implications for managing certified green buildings are numerous, and it should begin with the project manager having a good understanding of the various certification schemes available and their relevant merits at the early stage of the project. I'm not inferring that the project manager must be an expert in green certification system. That is the job of the green building consultant. But a project manager must be able to advise a client on the right scheme or schemes and prepare initial scope of services to be provided by the design team working on certified green buildings. As often, project managers are appointed before other designers and very early in the process. A sound knowledge of green buildings design and construction can help in setting clear project goals, client understanding, and end user understanding, evaluation methods and tools, timing, communication, and coordination, as well cost. Sustainability should be implemented at the inception of a project. In the past, simply defining the triple constraint of cost, time, and quality of a project was adequate to determine if the project was feasible to moving beyond stage 1. However, on certified green buildings, the focus on sustainability should be at the forefront of a project. The project manager should look much beyond the triple constraint of cost, time, and quality and include other considerations like reduce, reuse, recycle, life cycle assessment, life cycle cost, innovation, just to mention a few. Very often on certified green buildings, costs become secondary to performance and target rating as some clients seek to achieve the best possible score, as a demonstration of their commitment to sustainability. In such cases, the traditional approach to managing projects may not be relevant or appropriate. Then managing effective communication and collaboration are key to achieving the desired green building rating, and project managers should understand the specific communication, collaboration, and documentation required from this green rating system. Too often, I have seen project managers completely indifferent to the requirements of green buildings, staying in their own traditional and comfortable role of managing, controlling, not to say postman, leaving it to the green building consultant to drive the process. Some PMs still don't believe certified green buildings are beneficial. Now, to be fair to all of you, it is impossible to master the requirements of all the green jungle of green building certification schemes, but my recommendation will be to start with LEED from the USGBC, as this is the predominant scheme being used in Mauritius, at least on all the projects we are working on. I will encourage project managers also to get green accreditation like LEED AP or Green Associate if possible. Well, to conclude, I will say at last the construction industry is embracing digital technology. With a new generation of tech-savvy young graduates and professionals joining the industry, we will see a quicker move towards construction 4.0. There are already a few game changers in our local market, which is proving to improve construction efficiency. I have personally used these technologies and have seen the benefits they bring to projects. I've seen how BIM, virtual reality, augmented reality, common data environment, and green certified buildings are causing a paradigm shift in the way we design, construct, operate, and maintain the built environment. But all actors in the construction industry need to embrace these changes, but more significantly project managers, who are the apex of the process and tasked to meet the client's brief within the least cost, time, and the best quality. As projects get bigger and more complex, the tools I have described today will be inevitable companion of the new project manager, and we must be ready for them. Up to now, I've seen many managers being left out of the mainstream action in BIM and green building design, which I guess is a lack of engagement on their part. And also because many are simply afraid of new technology. This could be age-related as well, as we should acknowledge that after a certain age, we prefer to stick to our old habits. But if you want to survive in the forthcoming digital construction industry, you must innovate and embrace the change which is rapidly coming. I wish you all best of luck in this new adventure, and I will always be available with advice and guidance if you need that. With this, thank you very much.
That was very interesting, actually. I did not anticipate that the construction 4.0 is a reality. I think that it is almost there. And it is quite frightening at some point, because maybe someday BIM could be telling us what to do next. Maybe project management would even be needed. I hope not.
Well, we'll have a new breed of project managers, definitely. Tech-savvy project managers.
Exactly, hybrid project managers, which will be more something different. We have two questions from the audience. The first one is that with BIM being adopted more and more, are we going to see that emails are gone? So we are relying mostly on notifications. There won't be any emails in the future.
The question about email is going to be something of the past. Am I right? Yes. With the increasing use of CDE, we will definitely see a reduced use of emails, which is going to be something, in fact, very interesting and better for that industry. I think today there's an abuse of emails. It's just so easy to broadcast, to forward emails. CDE, if properly configured, will ensure that the email is only being sent to the concerned parties and not just broadcasted to everybody. Yes, the advent of common data environment will definitely see a better management of information as opposed to just sending emails and the abuse of emails.
Good. So the second question, you have shown us that with BIM, you can get like very accurate data in terms of construction material needs, quantity, all this information. But does BIM allow us to do kind of a simulation where we are able to see how different material is going to actually be impacted based on, I don't know, let's say it's raining every day, it's going to be super hot, you see stuff like that. So simulation to see how the appropriate material can be used and leveraged across the construction agency.
The beauty with BIM, as opposed to CAD software, is that it is some kind of open platform where you could modify or improve the platform from your own coding. What I mean by that is, through coding, you are able to use a BIM platform to simulate what-if scenarios. One which is already available, for instance, is what is the impact of programming, what is the impact on the construction program or project schedule by using different construction methods. That is already here, and I reckon it is not impossible at all to assess the impact on cost, time, by simulating adverse weather conditions, alternative material. All these are possible, and there is a growing body of knowledge around the world who are getting applications or coding applications and to simulate different scenarios. We at ProDesign, for example, we have coded a number of applications that are doing these what if scenario for building services engineering. And probably the most striking one that will also be coming, because we've done it already, and I guess there are probably a number of people around the world doing that, is what we call generative design. For instance, we are seeing the possibility of BIM itself doing the design for us, working around a set of boundary conditions. That platform is giving you within seconds dozens of options that would have taken you probably days to simulate. And this is being leveraged using artificial intelligence. I haven't got into all the possibilities of BIM. Maybe we should keep that for a different presentation, because what BIM can do is probably beyond our imagination. That's my experience, at least with BIM. So yes, I think everything could be possible. That is probably not available right off the shelf or out of the box at this point in time, but it is not something that is going to be difficult to achieve.
As a last question, what is the role of other technologies such as drone or different kind of thing that is happening, 3D printers in the construction world?
Yes, construction 4.0 in many parts of the world also include, like, drone service. Like I mentioned in my introduction, we will be managing robots. I've seen in other parts of the world, in the US and in England, I've seen where robots are doing site inspection. You've hinted a very interesting point. Let me probably go back a couple of years. I think it was probably around 2018 or 19, where a few of my colleagues had a terrible accident on a site. They were inspecting a very old building, and then they fell, and they were terribly hurt. They even at some point in time were, they were in danger of losing their life. So that is something quite terrible. We do come across that situation in many occasions where we have to inspect buildings that are inherently dangerous, with poor health and safety on site. And now robots are doing that for us. You must have seen Boston Dynamics developing robots that are doing inspection. And I reckon that would be coming to us very soon. But I haven't spoken about that today, because that is not something that probably will be available very soon. It's still quite expensive. It demands different kind of configuration, connectivity, very much like drones. To be able to use drones for site inspection requires some background technology which you're not probably ready for. So today I focus mostly on what is already being used, but definitely we will see drones and robots also in the construction industry in the future. That's not something to be going to be out of the ordinary or science fiction. It is already here. In fact, what we're seeing today, is whatever was considered as science fiction probably when we were kids happening, and they're happening at an accelerating stage. And the good thing is the construction industry is embracing that. So a traditional lethargic old-fashioned industry is now ready to acknowledge and embrace technology, which is something very interesting.
True. Thank you for that superb explanation of the construction 4.0. Arun, anything to add?
Yeah, it's quite interesting. I think the life of the project managers will be highly disrupted by a lot of technology trends. And it's quite clear that in the VUCA world, technology will play a big part to help the project manager in navigating the different complexities and ambiguities. And be it in the construction industry, be it in any industry, be it in IT, be it in banking, we see that technology is more and more pervasive, and technology is there to help the project manager and the different professionals to guide in the complexity. So yes, a very great presentation, Vikram. That was very nice. It gave us quite some insight on construction 4.0 and how the life of the project manager is changing at the moment and will be changing in the future. So that's really great. And any last thought from yourself? Any advice to our aspiring project managers and people getting into the industry?
I think it is the same advice I gave all my engineers. If you want to be a good engineer or if you want to be a good project manager, you better start learning programming and coding, because that would be the essential skill you would need in the future.
All right, that's great. So that's also one of the aspects that PMI is tackling at the moment. Yeah. So PMI has come up with something called Citizen Developer, to also educate our project managers, to educate the public at large on low-code development and how technology really gets into the world of today. Because I think the last 2 years, technology has been omnipresent in everything that we are doing, be it in construction, where in your case it has enabled collaboration from remote and visualizing your sites, which is quite a massive achievement, and some of these would not have been possible without technology.
Exactly.
And I think the project manager, one of the stuff that he obviously would need to learn is all these new tools that are coming around. And would you say that it brings more complexity to the life of the project manager, or does it solve the complexity?
No, I think it solves the complexity. I think the only barrier to that would be being open to accept and acknowledge those technologies. And again, we probably have a generation of project managers who I saw, at least, were very wary about technology. You know, we're not too keen about adopting new technologies. I think the new project manager has to have that openness to adopt technology and use it, because once you overcome that barrier, it really simplifies your life. I think the biggest barrier is the adoption of technology. But again, I must acknowledge and I must agree that we are not talking about adopting simple technology. What I mean by simple technology, for instance, going on a CDE as opposed to Dropbox or email is more challenging. You know, you don't need the same skill. It's different skills. But again, I guess in a changing world, in a VUCA world, we have to re-engineer ourselves. We'll have to re-engineer ourselves. We'll have to adapt to new working methods. We'll have to learn new things. And I believe project managers and engineers have been doing that. They should be able to do it.
All right.
Just need to understand that we have to do it. There's no way out.
Thank you, Vikram.
It's being driven by client. It's being driven by client. It is not by choice. It is going to be driven by clients.
Okay. Thank you, Vikram. That was really a great speech and a great topic to talk on. So we are nearly at the end of our day also.